What is going on YouTube? Dr. Wade here. This is a little bit of a different video. Basically, I had a Alliance member coming to me, Lion Emperian, and he basically wanted to know, let's go all the way to the top. He wanted to know what can he do with all of his, speed ups and resources because he wants to progress. He's currently at 6.2. KVK is coming up. Amen. And he wants to do the best he can to make sure that he's in a really good spot, right, for KVK or just his account growth in general, right? And I wasn't at first expecting him to have as much as he does, but he has a lot. Now he sent me pictures on Discord, all this stuff. We talked a little bit, but just to let you know what he's working with. So I found out that I did run all the numbers and calculations and all the BS. He has 188 million food, 184 million wood, 123 million stone, 55 million, almost 56 million gold, right? He has 9 days, 8 hours worth of building speed ups, 6 days, 4 hours worth of research speed ups, 37 days, 17 hours worth of training speed ups, 12 days, 8 hours worth of healing, and check this out, 154 whopping days of the universal. Sweet mama. That's actually more than I have. I think I have like 132 days of universals. That man really threw me off with the 154 days of universals. That's great. He did a really good job of saving up his speed ups, and that's a really good thing that you want to do. Now, I would say he probably waited just a little bit too long, but that's okay, right? Because he wanted to make sure that he was doing it, the right way versus using his speed ups willy-nilly, which I would prefer, but you don't want to wait too long either. Now, in this stage of the game, right, you're gonna have way more speed ups than you have resources anyway. So ultimately, it's gonna be the resources that fuck you in the end, right? So it was also noteworthy that once he finishes his little bit of research that I'm gonna recommend in the beginning, he'll have 76% build speed and 58% research speed. That's super relevant. And I've made a couple of assumptions, like he's on his way to do the City Hall 23 upgrade. So I'm assuming like he has a level 22 center, which will give him, 26 helps. I'm assuming that. I'm also assuming he's Academy level 22, right? I'm assuming that the Academy and Alliance Center are 22. I'm just assuming that. Okay, so this is for you, Lion. I recommend, so in his account, right, and it's mainly this is for his info. He hasn't finished the engineering. He has it at 8. Then he has mathematics at 9. The first thing that you should do is finish up your mathematics, get that to 10, and then get your engineering to 10 as well, right after the mathematics. Do it in that order. That way your engineering gets the benefit of the mathematics. And that's going to cost you, if you decide to speed it up. And here's what I'm going to say about that research. Like, it would be ideal to do it during an event, but I don't know. There's nothing coming up. All of that stuff should have been done like about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago up to now would have been a great time to do all of that because we had a lot of events for it. I would say like at this stage you're trying to be ready for KVK. I can see the argument. Like you could wait. I wouldn't say Mighty Governor. There's really no good time. This is something that you think about over time. But I would say it's so important right now. I would just go ahead and just do it, like speed those up, because that takes quite a while. And what you theoretically could do is queue up the mathematics, right? If I wanted to be super detailed, queue up the mathematics, and then no, cause you want the engineering too. Yep, no, fuck it, just speed it all up. I'm gonna make your life simple. Speed it all up. The engineering to 10, mathematics to 10. That's gonna cost you About 25 million food and wood, 19 million, a little bit over 19 million stone, and about 13 million gold. 13 days and 16 hours if you get max help. That's assuming your base speed, no room buff, no kingdom buff title, or no title, which I'm assuming that you're probably going to get at least some of that, at least the title, right? You're going to at least have that. So that'll give you a boost to those numbers to reduce, how many speed ups that you're using. And like I said before, speed ups isn't going to be your issue, right? So that's the first thing I would do. Now, once you do that, um, and only after you do the engineering and mathematics, that's when I would do your City Hall 23 upgrade. Now, in the meantime, with your buildings, right? I recommend if you haven't gotten these buildings, like the quarry should be 22, right? But if you haven't gotten at least one lumber mill to 22, one farm to 22, do that, right? And while you're, waiting, if there's any waiting involved, maybe like half a day, just work on that. Alternatively, you can start upgrading like your lower tier hospitals, right? You're gonna have one that's like super level, and that's just for your progression, right? And then you're gonna have other hospitals, ideally that are lower level. I would just level those up evenly. Like they don't take a lot of time, so you have like time to do it, and then like you're not stuck locked into that. It's really quick, and you're going to need to do that for kvk anyway, right? And then the city hall comes, right? So after mathematics, you done that while you're waiting on all of that bs. You do the city hall. That's going to run you 10 days, 12 hours. You already know how much it's going to cost in resources. You can see it, right? Then I would do that. Ideally, you would speed that up too. I don't recommend speeding up the city hall unless you have a compelling reason to do so. So, in my humble opinion, for the city hall, I would only speed it up once there's an event that rewards you for doing so, right? Whenever that is, right? I don't really think there's a particular rush to get to the city hall 23. There kind of is with the research, but it's like, right? So, I'm gonna leave it up to you whether you want to rush to the 23. I could. I'm gonna give you the argument why I think that might be a good idea for your account, but then we could also talk about like I don't know. It's a benefit reward thing. I don't know if the 10 days speeding up is gonna make a difference in the grand scheme of things if you do it early. I would say it would most likely. I would say speed that up too, and if you do speed up the city hall, it's gonna make this next part just so much better. So after the city hall, you have the academy. You speed that up no matter what. I don't care what day of the week it is. If your academy can be upgrade it, and you speed that motherfucker up. That's just what you do, right? And the reason why I'm saying speed it up to the 23, particularly because once you do that, right, you'll unlock all of these researches. I'm not sure about these four. I don't know when you get them. I wouldn't know because I never got bottlenecked in the research. But I know at 23 you do unlock these two. And that'll allow you to start focusing in more on a unit that you want and getting your tech up. And that gives you, and like again, like this doesn't even take, getting to 5 doesn't even take that long, right? Because like for example, 8 hours, like wow, it doesn't take very little time to get these first couple researches, but it gives you quite a bit of bonus, right? Get both of these to 5, that's 10% of stats, right? And you can start working on that, and that'll give you more in the research to work on. Working on these things are gangbuster. I think these are really good because at least especially early on, like for level 4 to level 4, it's cheaper than like doing these ones, right? Way cheaper, way less time. So do these as much as possible. I don't know if you get these at 24 or 23. I don't know. If it's 23, then you can work on those. Obviously, you would have to have all of this done, right? All of that done. At least to 1, I think, right? And that's like literally you can see I did the bare minimum. I would honestly just work primarily on the one you want to focus on, at least until you get to about 5. I'm not going to get into that. Like, this is just an initial plan to get you your boost, but that's the reason why you would speed up the academy, is get to this research over here. And I would say once it starts to get to look like something like mine, right, for future reference, I would start working more on the economic side. Especially getting the machinery, getting the gathering speed. All right. So then after the academy, you pretty much don't have to use speed ups that much at all. In fact, at least not on buildings and tech. I would, because your troops are lacking, I would focus more on troops. Now, there is one thing that you do want to speed up. So, the requirement for City Hall 24 is to get the siege to 23, which requires you to get all of these buildings to 23, right? So I would try to pretty quickly, if you want, and especially if there's a reason for you to get rewarded for speeding up, and I would save this for one of those days, is that I would like you to see you get all of your barracks, your stable, and your archery range all to 21, at least to start off with, pretty relatively quickly after you get to City Hall 23, mainly because, and I think the archery range already be 21, mainly because at that level, you getting, let's see, you're getting 14, you can train 1400 units. And when you're talking about T4, that's like a really good number. You can only train, I think it's like about 1500, in a 24-hour period with my particular training speed. So I'm assuming yours is somewhere similar, maybe a little bit less. I think mine's like 1550. Maybe yours is like 1500, right? So you could literally queue up, the the thing at one specific time every day, queue up your troops at one specific time every day, and then like never think about it until the next day, that exact time. And I think that that's really, really valuable. You can't really do that until you get to about 21 or 22. Sometimes for some people, depending on how much training speed you have, 23, right? So that's a great strategy to do. I split mine up personally into two, right? So I'll train once at 8 a.m. and then again at 8 p.m. And those are my training times typically. Right. So it's 7 o'clock almost right now, almost reset. And an hour after reset, right, these will be done. And then it's something weird. There's an event going on. So right now I'm not exactly training T4 because it's this event going on. But like normally it's T4. So I noticed that you don't have a lot of T4, and that's going to really be the name of the game, right? And that's why I would recommend using at least uh, I would probably spend at least somewhere around 80 days of all of your speed up. So like that includes the training. So like use all of your training, right? And then I would use like about 80 or so days of your speed ups, universals. So it's more like about 40 days of your universals, and just train. I want to say train the unit type that you're going to be fighting with in the field. Fine, you know, I would push you towards that being cavalry and like using like, well, I don't know what commanders you have. I would just say train the troop type that you want and let that be the end of it. Like that's fine. I think it's like 140 days, right, to get well, at least with my training speed of 45% to get a full march, 200K. I would say like 80 days is half of a march. let it be whatever you want. And then I would really recommend you doing that when there's like a 15% room and they pop a training buff. Just whenever that happens, I don't care when the fuck it is. Just whenever that happens, when they pop that kingdom buff 10%, and you got that 15 or 10, even a 10% room. That 10, 20 more percent is still excellent. Like 25, because it's diminishing returns anyway, right? That's when I would do that training. And then like after that, you probably are a little bit lower on resources. I don't want to burn up all your resources because KVK is coming up too quick for you to want to burn your resources like that. But you're getting a very substantial amount of power gain, and theoretically a short period of time. Like you could theoretically do most of this in a day, right? Because all you're doing is 3 researches, then the city hall, academy, right? And then a little bit of troop training buildings. You could theoretically do most of that in a day, 2 days, depending on how stingy people are with helps. I was able to do kind of a similar thing, all of this within a complete day. So, I mean, it is possible if you're online all day. So that's what I would do with your account. You'll be left. I tried to leave you with at least 50 million of stone, food, and wood. Think, I think, let's see. Yeah, I definitely left you. It's the goal that you might have a little bit less than, but I'm not really worried about your goal. That's what I would do. Hopefully this helps. It's all for you, Lion Empyrean. This is literally, if I could show you the piece of paper with all of the math and the figures written down, it would blow your fucking mind. But there it is. All right. We love you. Legion 3 for life. See you in the next video.